welcome everyone. I'm Toy Hussain, and today we have organized this webinar on behalf of World Academy. I would like to welcome everyone to this session where we will share some very important insights about the HR. And as you know that today's topic is about the changing HR roles in organizational leadership and strategy. And we have our renowned trainer, Mr. Robert Mandeya, and he's from Zimbabwe. He has been in this profession for quite a while. And he's going to conduct the webinar. I'm sure at the end of today's session, there will be many takeaways, and hope you've learned something from this session. And of course, just to remind you that after completion of this webinar, everybody who will be registering properly will be getting their electronic certificate of attendance. So with that note, I just want to go to how we are going to conduct today's session. Well, I've already introduced the topic and the trainer. Now we'll start off with the webinars and the content. Then we'll take a small strategic break. Then we'll resume the session. And then at the end, we'll take some questions. Of course, be courteous regarding raising your hands and asking the questions. That in that way, we can actually moderate pretty well. So I will stop my screen now. And I would request Mr. Robert Mandeya to give an introduction about him and also start off with the webinar. Sir, the floor is yours, sir. Sir, you need to unmute.
Hello, do you hear me now?
Perfectly, sir. You can go ahead.
Hello. Right, thank you, Tawhid, for the introduction and also for inviting me to this program, where certainly we are going to be sharing quite a lot of insights on HR and strategy in leadership. I would want to thank also all the team at World Academy for organizing this program. My name is Robert Mandeya, and I am from the Leadership Institute of Research and Development in Zimbabwe. We do customized training in corporate education, including HR, and I have quite a lot of background in HR from the private and public sectors in Zimbabwe. And we have been doing these trainings not only locally here in Zimbabwe, but also have been doing these trainings around in the region, including Malawi. We have been doing it in Botswana and South Africa. So just in brief, this is my background, and I hope everyone here would enjoy and would also have the opportunity to share their insights into the topic that is at hand today. So that's in a nutshell my background. I'll be sharing my presentation and talking to it. And if there are any things that people would want to further interrogate during the presentation, they are free. They can raise their hands so that maybe we can reinforce on whatever issue that they would have picked through this presentation. All right, I will be then sharing my presentation as follows. The topic, like Tawhid has said, is changing HR roles in organizational leadership and strategy. And there are a lot of things that are happening and a lot of changes that are taking place globally. And the HR function at sometimes has not been given the status that it deserves in most organizations, and its role has been, or its functions rather, have been reduced to the mere or the most common things to do with recruitment and training, and yet there are a lot of things that then the HR function is expected to do in the fast changing world that we find ourselves in currently. So my objectives are as follows. we want to look at how we can manage the workplace practices that are aligned with the organization's vision, the organization's mission, as well as its values. And we also want to see how HR can contribute to the development of the organizational strategy and planning, and also look at how we can execute and lead HR strategies that are aligned to the organization's strategic plan. And also we would want to see how we can, or how business can appreciate the HR function, as well as the HR itself appreciating business elements of the entire organization. So let's first look at the evolving HR function. You'd notice that there is a shift from the usual administrative roles of HR functions, such as managing recruitment and hiring, training and development, which we are all familiar with, as well as compensation and benefits and employee retention. The HR function now is extending to becoming a business partner and actively shaping business outcomes by aligning the HR strategy with the entire organizational business strategy, which we are going to touch on extensively as we proceed with the presentation. HR function now requires someone to develop an HR strategy, which actually will contribute to organizational strategy and also influencing people management practices, as well as being able to monitor the risks that comes within the organizational operations itself. So how do we align work practices with organizational vision from an HR perspective? Firstly, we look at the aspect of developing and managing workplace practices that are aligned with the organization's vision, its mission, as well as its values. We also look at the aspect of sustainability and corporate social responsibility, ethics, and anti-corruption to shape and reinforce organizational culture as part of the function of the HR operation. So we also want to look at how we can integrate HR strategy with the business goals. Which goals are hiring for values, as well as developing the employees themselves so that they are able to cope with the expectations of the organization's management. And also using how can we use data to guide decisions. You know, we are in a world where now that our decisions are mostly data driven. The use of the internet and all the things like AI that are coming in. How can AI, how can the HR take advantage and embrace these innovations that are coming in to enhance the HR practices in the organization? And this would certainly include clearly defining and communicating the organization values, embedding them into performance management of everyone, as well as conducting their regular audits as to the effects or the impact of everyone's performance within the organization itself. And also, we're looking at how, from an HR point of view, we can foster leadership skills in the entire team, and as well as creating strong feedback loops for continuous improvement, because we always have to be continually assessing ourselves in terms of the impact that we are making to the entire organizational goal. And we can only do this by having some feedback loops from our team that would inform our efforts towards improving each time, because there is need, because of the changes and the things that are happening around us in the organization. There is need for continuous improvement to keep in touch with the trends that are taking place, or they be regionally or globally. There are always these things that are happening around us in the work environment that would need continuous assessment and the ability to really improve wherever it is needed so that we continually keep our organization functioning and being effective, particularly through the teams that we hire. The HR function now can align work practices from the team with organizational vision. I was talking about how then this can develop and manage workplace practices that are aligned with the organization's vision, its mission, as well as its values. And also how that also can support sustainability within the organization, as well as aid to what we call corporate social responsibility, ethics, and anti-corruption, so as to shape and reinforce organizational culture. That was what I was looking. Are you following? Are you following me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hope
Yes,
everybody
yes.
is doing it.
It's also doing the same that side. Hello, Towid.
Yes, sir.
Are you winning?
Yes, so far I'm with you, sir.
Okay. So we were talking about also the aspect of integrating the HR strategies with business goals. Strategies such as hiring for values, and as well as aspects of developing the employees themselves, and so that they're always up to date with the expectations of the organizations itself, as well as using data to guide decisions. I was talking about the era in which we are right now, which is um, where decisions are influenced by data in the advent of um, uh, internet. And also we are in the fourth industrial revolution, where the internet is playing a key role, or data-driven practices are now being deployed in organizations to help in informing um, uh, decisions in the organization itself. And this also includes clearly defining and communicating values. It is the HR's role to communicate clearly how these values can be practiced within the organization, because the organization operations normally hinges on its values, as well as these values should be reflected in the actions and should be attached to the key performance indicators of all those that are involved within the organization itself. And they must be inducted into the value so that they are able to practice work ethics that are aligned with organizational expectations themselves. Then we also looking at aligning talent management with business goals. The aspect of aligning talent management with business goals is so critical and so important for the HR leader. So aligning talent management with business goals, what would it involve? It involves actually clearly defining organizational objectives, as well as then building the talent strategies for hiring, because you must get the right fit for the job that has arisen within the organization itself. And from my experience, it seems finding talent is not an easy thing for the HR practitioner. There are challenges with regards to getting the right and appropriate talent to fit in the job description that might have arisen within the organization itself. And also, there is also the aspect of development of the people within the organization. The team itself would require that the HR would develop them, particularly in this day and age where change is so rapid. There is need for the HR practitioner to be conscious of all the changes that are happening around, so that he keeps his team very well developed to meet the new challenges that are arising as a result of the evolution that is taking place within the business environment currently. And also the aspect of performance and retention that directly support them. When you have got that talent, there is also the aspect of retaining that talent, which is also a huge challenge for HR practitioner to retain that talent because there is competition out there. So the need to retain them would include all sorts of incentives that the HR would suggest so as to retain the talent and keep the organization moving smoothly without interruption from labor turnover. And also the aspect of hiring new talent becomes an expense to the organization if there is a high turnover of employees within the organization itself. So what are the key steps that are involved in aligning the talent management with business goal? It takes assessment of current workforce skills to identify existing gaps that could have arisen within the organization itself. So that takes the HR practitioner to be very skilled in making such assessment. But then with the new technologies that are coming in, like AI, and like we said before, data-driven decisions, as is the case right now, that is assisting in making the work, the HR work much easier. There is the need to really have these matrices that are able to be looked at, be assessed, and looking at the current workforce skills, as well as being able to identify the gaps that might have arisen within the organization itself. As well as the ability, it also includes the implementation of a performance management system that links employee goals to company objectives, and to using data analytics to continuously refine your talent initiatives. So it takes quite a lot of, I think, research in this area, where you would really need to take advantage of the new technologies that are coming in to help you with the data analytics that would help in following up or assessing the trends within your organization, and be able to come up with the right fit for whatever job that would have arisen within the organization itself. And then the other aspect that today's HR practitioner is supposed to develop is fostering leadership development within the organization itself. And we are saying here, HR can foster leadership development by, one, implementing training and development programs company-wide, as well as creating a leadership pipeline through succession planning and talent identification, as well as cultivating a culture that supports growth through mentorship, coaching, and providing opportunities for hands-on experience. So the HR role you would see is actually expanding to also be helping the team in all those areas that I've outlined, and in the process being able to develop leadership within the team itself, the leadership that would help to take the organization to the next level. And the key HR strategies here would include providing skills-based training that is tailor-made to develop certain skills that are required to perform certain tasks within the organization itself. It also would include establishing mentorship programs and creating a culture that encourages empowerment, feedback, and continuous learning, because you would need to create a continuous learning organization at the end of the day. Excuse me. Right. So that's just about it, about fostering leadership development as a new function for an HR practitioner, that they must also be seized with the ability to foster that leadership development within the entire team in the organization. Then there is the aspect of driving cultural transformation, particularly for those that are running international organization where they have people located in different geographical locations. The aspect would start within the organization itself to go through certain transformation that are sometimes influenced by outside or environment. The HR can drive cultural transformation by aligning the new desired culture with the business strategy itself, as well as implementing a clear change management plan and ensuring a consistent communication and leadership support is provided to all those involved. Because change, particularly for many, is something that is not very comfortable. It's something that really needs mental preparation. And the HR now would need to, or the HR practitioner would need to ensure that people would go through these changes and not maybe sometimes experience culture shocks and be able to drive organizational goals as fast as they can and be able to cope with the changes that will be taking place at any particular time. So the driving cultural transformation is now very critical for the HR practitioners, and other key actions to this regard would include updating talent acquisition and performance management to reflect the desired culture, whichever desired culture the organization is going through. The HR must be able to pick that and direct the team towards that desired culture. And it's quite a lot of challenge for many to try and make the team to go through easily this cultural transformation within the organization itself. And some of the key actions would also include using recognition programs to reinforce new behaviors, as well as fostering an inclusive environment through policies and initiatives. So there is quite a lot of initiatives that the HR practitioner would need to consider for the team to successfully go through this cultural transformation within the organization without disrupting workflow in the organization itself. There must be some sort of seamless continuation from the previous way of doing things to the new way of doing things. So that then would help or avoid a lot of disruption within the organization itself as it goes through these upheavals. And the other thing that then is very key and critical for the HR practitioner today is the ability to influence people management practices within the organization itself. Generally, HR influences people management by acting as a strategic partner within the organization. And how does the HR act as a strategic partner? He does that through aligning HR practices with business objectives and key functions like recruitment, training, and performance. You no longer just doing recruitment in the way that it used to be, but it must be really strategically be thought out so that the recruitment would not come to waste. and be able to be organizing training programs for those that then would have joined the organization, and the ability to be monitoring their performance once they are within the organization itself. And like I said before, you cannot ignore the current innovations that are coming in as a result of the fourth industrial revolution. Technology is key in all these things and would help ease the work for the HR practitioner. And we are saying through strategic leadership, HR can also help shape the organizational culture and enhance employee engagement, as well as to ensure fairness, which in turn would drive productivity. It would also help in retention efforts and overall organizational performance. Because at the end of the day, it is all about productivity. When you have people within the organization, at the end of the day, there must be production. And you do notice that these key issues that I'm pointing out here would help to drive that productivity and would help to have that retention ability by the organization to retain the key talents within the organization. And that then would allow the organization to perform to the expected standards. Then we're also looking at the role of HR of promoting agile workforce planning, because there is now a lot of planning that is involved from an HR point of view for you to be able to enhance employee engagement, and also for you to be able to embed diversity and inclusion into the company's DNA. It's a lot of work. It needs continuous communication with the team, and also notifying any gaps that are arising from any processes that you have within the company itself, and then be able to have everyone involved in whatever processes that are taking place within the organization, so that everyone is informed, and also everyone understands the expectations as of management, the expectations of leadership within the organization, and align with such expectations for the best performance of the organization itself. So in communicating such expectations is not so easy for many HR practitioners. It takes quite a lot of effort and a lot of communication channels that needs to be used for people to really understand what is going on within the organization itself, and be able to cope with any things that are happening in the organization without many challenges. Then there is also the need by HR practitioner to identify and mitigate risks. And what risks are we talking about within the organization? And how can HR identify these risks, and for what purpose is the need to identify those risks for the HR practitioner? HR can identify risks through a regular assessment of the workflows, a regular assessment of the team itself, the team performance itself, and also regular assessments of adherence to certain regulatory requirements by the organization itself. Also, there is need for the HR to audit, and also by analyzing data, would he be able to pick out where the organization is lacking in terms of its compliance with the regulatory authorities. So mitigating risk by implementing clear policies would assist in this case, and also providing comprehensive training to everyone involved would also help, and also improving onboarding and fostering a transparent culture within the organization, would help mitigate some of the risks that would come particularly through complacency by certain members of the team, and also sometimes just attitude issues that have to do with the team or some members of the team, so to speak. So the HR needs to ensure compliance and also needs to encourage ethical conduct and practices throughout the organization. And by encouraging ethical conduct and practices, that would help in mitigating those risks that might come with certain errors of omission or commission by the team. And the need for also a continuous monitoring process is required for an HR practitioner. And this would include the use of key performance indicators and employee feedback, which is very crucial for adapting and improving the risk management strategy that one would have come up with. So continuous monitoring process needs to be put in place, and the HR really needs to do this by using key performance indicators. These key performance indicators must be aligned to the issues that have to do with mitigating risks. So mitigation of risk must be, I would say, must be streamlined within the key performance indicators so that employees would understand the criticality of this aspect in their conduct or in their work processes. Then now, like I've said before, that we are now in an era where our decisions are data-driven. So the HR practitioner needs also today to be leveraging on data analytics. And here we are saying the HR can use data analytics to inform strategic decisions by analyzing workforce data to identify trends such as skills gap or turnover risks, and then using these insights to guide talent acquisition, learning, and development, as well as also retention initiatives. So this evidence-based approach shifts the HR just from a support function to a strategic partner by aligning people initiatives with business outcomes and by also improving efficiency and creating a more productive and engaged workforce. So leveraging on data analytics has become a very imperative for the HR function, that they need to take advantage of the technology coming in the fourth industrial revolution that we find ourselves in. Things like the AI has become so key in helping in the data analytics processes. So the HR these days really now must acquaint themselves with these new technologies that are coming in and be able to assist in the selection of the most appropriate technologies that would align with the organization's goals and expectations as well. So the other aspect that we find the HR in currently is to do with ensuring long-term organizational resilience. And how can the HR ensure long-term organizational resilience? HR can leverage data analytics, like we've pointed out earlier on, to ensure long-term organizational resilience by adopting a proactive, data-driven approach to workforce management that aligns human capital strategies with overarching business objectives. So the HR now needs to understand the entire business thrust of the organization for him to be able to leverage on these analytics and apply them appropriately to the working environment. Also, there is the need to apply predictive analytics to anticipate future challenges, and also to foster a culture of continuous improvement with the organization itself. So that then would lead to this organizational resilience. The organization would be able then to cope with the changes, the volatility in the business environment, the uncertainty. So we call it in some other language, or in short name, we say the VUCA environment. It's very ambiguous, the environment that business is operating due to these technological changes that are taking place. Organizations are struggling to cope with the changes, and the HR then must position itself to assisting the organization to be resilient and be able to cope with these changes. And there is also the aspect of influencing organizational behavior is another key HR practice. How then can, from an HR point of view, one, influence organizational behavior? This then can happen through advising and influencing organizational behavior and outcomes through effective relationships with the key stakeholders. So the aspect of understanding your stakeholders in the business environment becomes critical and becomes key. And the HR is now called upon to help in what we call stakeholder mapping, which would assist in understanding the key stakeholders that the organization needs to focus on and be able to serve effectively. So it's now an HR function to help understand, to help the organization and everyone within the organization to understand their key stakeholders. So the role of HR now serves many stakeholders and yet does not directly generate revenue. This is where the dilemma comes, that sometimes from the entire organizational leadership, they might not understand this role by HR because it does not directly generate revenue, and yet it is very critical to the organization's operations. So HR professionals, literally as we know them, do not build the products or services for the external customers. HR tasks are focused on serving the stakeholders who are dependent upon the company being successful. So when HR is developed as a company core competence, its value comes from, one, contributing to the workforce and the strategic plans of the organization. Two, forming strategic partnership with people inside and outside the company itself. Three, improving employee productivity and organizational effectiveness through designed interventions that the HR would have identified as key interventions. And four, hiring and developing talent and monitoring and reducing risk and supporting the real and perceived needs of the entire workforce. So you can see the whole or entire HR portfolio expanding to the mundane activities that used to be associated with the HR practices, to be now be able to advance the HR function organization-wide. So this is actually a very challenging aspect in the HR work or HR practices. Now, then there is also the need for HR to apply the strategic planning processes. And how does one do that? How do HR applies strategic planning processes. By initializing and completing the SWOT and the PEST or PESTEL analysis, whichever you are using, on behalf of the organization, and then sharing those findings with the organization's leadership, HR can help inform organizational direction. So you see now, from just being the HR to do with training and recruitment, you are now also involved in informing the organization's direction. And you need to apply that strategic planning process using those tools that I've mentioned. The SWOT, the PEST, and the PESTEL analysis would help you to identify what is at stake, what needs to be done, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the technologies that are coming in, and advising management accordingly as to some of these new things that are coming in, so that they are informed. So based on the response, HR can evaluate and propose how to make changes based on the most impacted areas, or making a general on how to address all these areas. So you're no longer just focusing on employees, but you are also now focusing on the entire management team within the organization, and assisting them where they might not have taken note of some of these things that are coming as a result of the rapid changes that are taking place globally, and how these changes are impacting on organizations locally. And the HR now needs to have that sort of business intelligence to be able to inform the organization as to how they can survive these developments. I don't know. Do we still need to take a break, Tohid?
Yes, we can take a break. No problem.
Okay.
Great.
Can I give you? Yeah, maybe I can give you the opportunity
Sure.
before I proceed. Yes.
Sure. So I'll just take a couple of minutes. In the meantime, you can take a break. Just let me know, Mr. Nazmul, if my screen is visible.
It's now visible.
All right, thank
you.
Is
it?
Yeah.
I mean, your screen is it now visible?
Yeah, I just shared my screen.
Okay,
great. So, well, the reason I took this strategic break is to give you a small and quick introduction about World Academy. And as you can see that we are a UK registered learner provider. And we have been in this industry for quite a while. For instance, we have these ISO certifications that we have to maintain in order to keep up with the quality of the education that we are providing online and physically. Now in the larger scale, what World Academy has an impact is that we have covered about 65 plus countries so far. We have about 200 plus programs from academic to certified, trained over 30,000 over 65 countries. We have a pool of 132 instructors from over 14 countries, and 30% of our alumni are from the C-suits. The qualifying of this of the rate is about 95%. Now, why World Academy would be the right choice? Because we are one of the largest professional certification institute in UK and have an acceptance globally regarding our credentials. We try to make our fees very affordable, and we have flexible plans for high-priced courses. We have a range of programs covering for all professional areas, 150 certified programs, 30 master's level programs, 40 diploma level programs. And also we have a very user-friendly learning management system through which you can be studying by yourself, or you can choose to study through live sessions. We also provide our professional credential badges through credly.com. It is one of the concern of Pearson Education, and it is probably right now #1 digital platform provider through which we have an agreement, and then we are able to provide the digital badge through them. At the moment, we are accredited by NQual. It is an Ofqual regulated awarding body in UK. I believe who are aware of Ofqual knows that this is the direct institution under the UK government. We are an approved center by Cambridge Academy of Professionals UK, Profqual UK, and Board of HR Certification UK. We are an approved provider of HR, CI, SHRM, and ATD. And of course, a couple of our programs are academically aligned with SHRM. We are a member of CPD Group and currently partnering with KPI Institute and English Academy of Professionals. So the mission that we have, the World Academy has for 2030, is to become the #1 professional certification institution in the world and have over presence in 100 countries. So this is what we are aiming. And the way that we are proceeding is we might reach there even earlier. So these are some of our recent events that we have done for Kenya. That was a graduation ceremony for the professionals. And also it was followed by a summit. It was a global professional summit. Then we also had another program in Uganda. This was all conducted in the April and September, the first week of September in Uganda. This was the graduation ceremony, and this was the summit that we have conducted. Also, we did one in Tanzania as well. So this graduation ceremony was followed by a summit for global professionals. So we will be doing our graduation ceremony in different countries in Africa as we come up across each of them. Now, just to give you a glimpse idea of the November courses that we are offering this month, as you can see, we have the Certified Professional Accountant. It is endorsed by IFA. It is a renowned accounting institution under UK. So it starts on the 9th of November. And we also have Diploma in Environment, Health and Safety, which starts on November as well. We have the Certified HR Generalist, which is on the 14th of November. This program is currently under an offer. So if you are interested, you can reach us out. We're going to let you know what the offer is. We also have on the 15th of November, the Certified Project Finance Analyst. And we have the Certified Result-Based Monitoring and Evaluation Specialist in the 16th of November. And of course, we have the CHRBP, which is Certified HR Business Partner, which is 2.0. But this will start on the 21st of November as well. And the Certified Project Administrator starts on the 22nd of November, and the Certified Financial Risk Manager will be on the 23rd of November. So that is all from my strategic break. I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Mr. Robert, you can carry out your presentation.
Thank you, Tauhid. Maybe just to ask from the audience if they are getting me clearly, or maybe if anyone can tell me what they're experiencing. Is hot this side, so hot, and I don't know, maybe one or two can tell us what, just to refresh. How is it your side? Any participant can just volunteer to say something. Hello?
Yes, sorry, we can hear you. I think if anybody is interested to share anything, they can raise their hand or write it in the chat box. We can actually follow that part as well.
You can follow that, isn't it? Right. So thank you to it. All right. Thank you so much for the brief that you have given us. So I was talking about how the HR can influence organizational behavior from their workflows. And we are looking at applying the strategic planning process, where I was talking about the SWOT, the PEST, the PESTLE analysis on behalf of the organization, and then sharing their findings with the organization's leadership. We are saying this way the HR can help inform organizational direction. And also based on the response that they get from the management, HR can evaluate and propose how to make changes based on the most impacted areas, and or making general plan on how to address all the areas that need attention. So influencing change strategies in the organization itself. There is this saying that goes, the only constant is change. Today's HR function include designing, implementing, and facilitating effective change strategies to also align organizational performance with the organization's strategic goals, such as change leadership and change management. So change is one of the business actions that causes both anticipation and sometimes it causes great apprehensiveness or discomfort for many. Not so many people are comfortable with change. So the HR function must then include looking at these things as to how people then can cope with the changes that are taking place within the organization, so that not so much loss of time is experienced through people trying to adjust and to accommodate some of these things. Some people need some assistance in or some coping mechanisms which HR must come up with in order to help out the team to sail through. So another aspect that I felt is very critical in today's HR function is to do with understanding organizational finance and accounts. It's no longer just a portfolio for the finance director, but HR must really understand finance and accounts of the organization. Why do we say so? Or why is it important for the HR to understand organizational finance and accounts? Managing a company's finance is similar to managing human resources. So it requires strategic planning for the management and the direction of the financial resources towards business goals. So on an operational level, reports such as the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, and income statement help human resources to understand what is driving decisions about spending, growth, as well as expense management. So it is very important for organizations experiencing sudden growth to closely monitor their cash flow and implement strategies to mitigate potential challenges. And this may involve careful cash flow forecasting, as well as optimizing working capital management and negotiating favorable terms with suppliers and customers, and considering additional funding sources as it may be. So this is an additional requirement. I would think the HR practitioner must understand, must have some sort of knowledge of the organization's finance and accounts for the reasons that I have pointed out. And additionally, maintaining a strong financial buffer or contingency fund can help cushion any short-term cash flow fluctuations that may arise from rapid growth, right? So pretty much there is need to liaise with even the finance department for the HR to understand the financial health of the organization as it impacts certain decisions within the organization itself. So it's very critical these days for HR to understand all these intricacies so that they can help or can be able to align their programs with the financial health or status of the organization itself. It becomes very critical and very important. Then also understanding organizational management functions, all the functions of management. It's very critical for today's HR to understand accounting, to understand sales marketing, to understand operations, also to understand research and development, to understand IT issues and the finance that I've pointed out earlier on. So HR professional must have an understanding of the working of each department in order to plan for and contribute to the overall management of internal and external resources, including time, money, technology, and of course, the talent. So HR now needs to know the business models the company is pursuing to achieve revenue. How is the company making money? These are some of the questions that HR uh, uh, must question, and also understand the profit margins on products and services, and becoming experts in how workflows between departments and ultimately to the customer contributes to the design of HR strategies and programs, as well as policies and procedures and processes that would help or assist the company to manage its its processes. So it has become not a choice, but something that is very imperative, that some understanding of these functions are so critical to the HR function, activities related to running the business through people, processes, and strategic management systems. They're all tied up, and the HR becomes the pivotal or the center of all the actions and activities that are happening within the organization itself. Then also the need to have a working knowledge of business is become so critical today. Creating risk management plans, hiring qualified talent, building programs, designing pay systems, and complying with country-specific regulations are just a few examples of how a working knowledge of business makes for a stronger and a more valuable HR profession. So additionally, finance will help employers calculate the internal rate of return on financial and other investments and calculate overall net income expectations for the period being evaluated. So while growth plans and targets are necessary, they may also impact HR's ability to pay for necessary talent and get approval for new programs or services. So that's why it has now become so imperative for the HR practitioner to have a working knowledge of business, which would help position his department as a critical department in the entire organization. It also would add a value to their contributions to the entire organization, and they must really convince management that it's no longer business as usual. HR is really transformed or evolved to understanding all those intricacies that makes the business running. Then the issue of workforce planning and employment is also so very key to the HR practice. If business management and strategy is strategically focused to the domain of workforce planning and employment, everything becomes operationally focused. And this is where HR practitioners are experts in recruitment, selection, and employee separation. And these two practices are the bookends of the life cycle of the employee. The other domains addresses all areas that are in between. So issues of recruitment, onboarding, development, retention, and separation becomes very key for the HR to manage these aspects critically and effectively, so that all things is expected and would help to make the organization realize a return on investment through its workforces. So lastly, but not least, I would want to touch on the human resource alignment, which is key to all the activities of HR. Um, and where we are saying aligning jobs to company goals and activities, what are we saying in this? We are saying using the principles of job design, HR supports productivity outcomes through workflow analysis. And then also coming to aligning jobs to people and people to organizations. This is known as FIT. HR uses both job and company data to predict the success of new hires and separate those with poor fit. So you must be able to understand who fit where and which one is a poor fit and what do you do with a poor fit. What are the necessary interventions that are necessary when you pick out that there is a poor fit in terms of deployment of employees? Then necessary measures which are timeless must be taken to avoid further decadence in this area. So also ability to aligning resources to strategy becomes also very critical. And by systematically reviewing company business plans and strategies, HR then determines the human capital requirements to achieve these business goals. And this would include both staffing up and downsizing. So here, the HR then becomes a critical internal consultant to the entire organization as to how they are, which areas they're supposed to downsize, and also which areas are they supposed to be staffing up, depending, of course, on the criticality of those areas to the entire business performance. So the HR then needs to advise accordingly which areas would need staffing up and which areas would need downsizing as he really navigates throughout the organization's operations. I think this is what I had prepared. I want to thank you all for your attention. And if there are any input or any contributions from anyone, this is the time that I would open to everyone to make a contribution or to add in something or to ask a question.
Yes, great. Thank you, sir, for the overview of what we have today about the topic. Yes, if anybody has any questions for Mr. Robert, then this is the right chance to ask him. That's the right moment to take it from an expert. Is there any questions? You may raise your hand and ask. Yes, Mr. Tabo Malasela. Yes, Tabo, can you please go ahead and ask your question?
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let me take this time to appreciate or to thank the facilitator for this good presentation. I just wanted maybe to understand in technological aspects the way now the HR they are going to the AI space. How are we prepared as the HR practitioner around the AI space? And the way we have been doing our work and having the correlation of maybe reducing the workload and reducing the staff, how that is going to impact maybe on the economy and the workforce.
Right. Thank you for that question. I think yes, there is still, like, particularly in this side of the world, technology is quite slow, and most HR practitioners are finding it difficult to embrace these new technologies. But through so much awareness into the merits of embracing AI technologies into HR work, I think most people would begin to appreciate how this then would impact on their work processes And besides bringing about the efficiency and accuracy, there is also the aspect of these technologies enhancing work processes and workflows within the organization, and making organizations to perform more than they would have without these technologies. So it is very imperative for HR to maybe convince the organization and come up with what we call cost benefit analysis of introducing these technologies within the organization, so that they convince management as to what impact these things would have on the organization's performance and realization of the organization of its return on investment.
Great.
I don't
I
know
hope,
if the
yeah, I think Mr. Tavo has got his answer. Great. Do let us know in the chat box if the answer was satisfactory. Any other questions?
and also
Yes,
also
Joanne.
to
Yeah.
it,
Yes, sir.
I wanted to say if there could be any others who would want to add into what I would have said, they are free to do so.
Okay, okay, sure, sure, sure.
Yes, to contribute. Yes.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, we have raised hands from Joanne. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for the webinar. It was very informative. My question is, so as HR, how are we supposed to start preparing employees for AI coming into their organizations? Because there's definitely an element of an attitude where people don't want it because it might take away their jobs and stuff like that. And there's that element of fear of change to say maybe once AI gets into the organization, I'm going to be replaced by it. So what's our role in preparing the organization for this?
All right. You can prepare everyone through awareness and training. Actually, AI is not taking anyone's job, but it is going to help them do their job effectively. I think if you put it that way, then it allays any fears people might have through the introduction of AI. It's not going to be taking anyone's job, but it's going to enhance their work flows and practices. So these are some of the things that then you need to continually, like I said in the presentation, continuous communication becomes key to close any information gaps that might be there within the people, and the misunderstandings that could be arising through some of these things. So continuous information, continuous communication would help allay some of these fears on workers that this is not a threat, but rather it is something that is going to help enhance their work practices.
Great.
I don't.
That,
Yes.
that answers the question. Well, you can also add your thoughts to this presentation
Yes.
as well. It would be very informative in that way. Yes, we have a hand
Excellent.
raised from Esia Tontala. You can go ahead, please.
It would also help for them to tell us where they are watching this from.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yes.
Like just a small introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm Siatontola, joined from Zambia.
Nice.
Yeah, other than Mr. Mandeya, thank you so much for this informative presentation. Yeah, you highlighted a number of courses that you offer. So I had asked a question as to whether these ones, after you graduate, then you'll be subjected to annual subscription. And the response was for this one is not. So I wanted to understand also whether the certified internal auditor,
Okay.
certified or CPA,
All right.
yeah, and others whether.
All right, so there's no annual subscription for the programs that World Academy is offering. It is a professional credential program, and what you need to do is you need to attend the program. You need to qualify first to apply for this program, and then you'll be sitting for this certified program that is like around 4 months program. Yeah, there's no your annual subscription that you need to pay. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Great. Any contribution? Would really appreciate that. Like anybody would like to add something to today's presentation. All right. So I think yeah, I think people has had their question answered very well. And thank you, Mr. Robert, for making it so convenient and so easy to understand about today's topic. So yeah, I think if there's no other queries or no other comments to add on, I think we can conclude the session here. It was a very pleasant to have you all in today's webinar and with beautiful questions. It was very interactive. Thank you again, Mr. Mandeya, for sharing your experience with us. Hope we'll have more of these kind of programs, maybe on some other topics, maybe some topics that might, have a better impact for the future of HR. And yeah, so we can conclude the session here. Thank you very much. Sir, would you like to add anything else before you go?
Right, I would like to say thank you to everyone who have taken their time to participating in this webinar, and also for the contributions that they have made. And I would simply want to say people must be open-minded and open to learning more with each day, because the world we are in today is fast changing, and we need to keep our minds open to any of these things that are coming around us, and be able to develop coping mechanisms that are appropriate for the advancement and development and growth of the organizations that we are in. We must assist them to cope and to survive under these situations. I want to thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for the nice words, sir. Yeah, so with that note, I'm going to conclude here. Thank you very much and good evening, everyone. It was a very nice webinar. Hope to have more webinars in the future and to see you people attending them. Thank you.